So much for being here. Please tell us, what is a hurdle that you've overcome in your life?
One of the biggest hurdles in my life that I had to overcome was the significant shift in my mindset after becoming disabled in 2019. It was a tough time for me because, my disability had a major impact on my life and the way I thought. And I had to adapt to a whole new way of living once my disability or my disease took over. And, I'd gone from being a successful personal trainer, homeschool mom, corporate business leader to bedridden, wheelchair walker dependent for the next 3 years. And, I went from being very independent to being very dependent on everyone around me, especially to my husband and my kids. And shortly after my disease took over, I had to close my personal training business. I had to resign from my corporate position. And, as you can imagine, becoming disabled doesn't stop life from happening. So, I may have been sick, but I definitely still had to find ways to support our large family. We've got 5 kids. And I've always been passionate about helping people. I've always had a passion for making sure people feel loved and seen and heard. And so I began looking for various income earning opportunities during that time that would allow me to do things like that. And during this time, I also took to my social media and I started to look into, sharing my story, sharing my journey with my disease. What could I do to motivate and encourage other people? And then, of course, I delve into, studying monetization strategies and algorithm boosting strategies. And eventually it took my Facebook platform to over 163,000 followers and all across my platforms to a little over 200,000 supporters, which has just been absolutely incredible. And, initially, as you can imagine, maintaining a positive mindset through my struggle, I found myself feeling things like, self-doubt or insecurities or fear. And, this would eventually manifest into panic attacks and anxiety attacks, depression, suicidal thoughts, things like that. And for a long time, I masked my struggles. Until about early 2023, when it all kind of came crashing down for me. I had actually just returned from a trip. It was my first trip that I had gone away by myself in over 3 years. I usually have someone with me. My husband's my PCA. And I'd spent a week on set filming for a reality TV show for entrepreneurs, and my whole structure got thrown out. I'm also ADHD as heck, and for me, I'd had a consistent structure. I had kind of learned how to deal with disability and what my day to day looked like, and then I broke that by going away for a week. And I struggled more than I'd like to admit during that time. And most would think that it was on a physical standpoint, but it really was a mental thing. It was that constant negativity that played a loop in my mind, the feeling of not feeling worthy or incapable of achieving my goals or my dreams, or that thought of what is this disabled 30-something-year-old going to be able to bring to the table in front of all these, professional entrepreneurs. And that mindset really inhibited me from being able to live out my full potential at that time. It flooded into my personal life, my business life, my, all the things. And, eventually it did lead me up to a divine moment actually in this very room. And I'll share a little bit with you. And this is a big moment for myself. It was March last year. And my depression, my self-pity, everything had hit, rock bottom. And I was on my knees in this very room, and I was sobbing. And I remember that day because I just had it with life and disability and trying to be something I wasn't and trying to figure out who I was. And my mindset just constantly telling me, you're not good enough. What are you going to help people with? And all these things. And I remember being on my knees in this room and just crying to God, take me or fix it. Just take me or fix it. I'd given up. I was focusing on all the wrong things. I was focusing on what wasn't working. I hadn't given myself any grace to see, hey girl, you've done all of these things over the last few years while being disabled, and you've helped people through sharing your journey. And I just hadn't been able to see that at that point. And that's when I realized, hey, if you want to go somewhere here, if you want to achieve your goals, you need to change your mindset. You need to let go, let God, and you'll be able to overcome these challenges and achieve these goals. And so at that point, I started to really approach life with more like an utmost confidence and bravery. I had to be brave, and I started focusing on strengths and what I could do versus what I couldn't do. And I surrounded myself with positive influences like people, the family, friends, anyone that would support me or that would encourage me to keep going. And I of course made space and set boundaries because that was very important for my mindset. I had a lot of influences that were very negative, and with time, I developed a new sense of purpose and direction in my personal and my professional life. And I learned that, resilience, determination, positive mindset really can take you a long way with your goals. And today I'm really grateful. Today I'm grateful to be alive. I've lived a hard life. I've had lots of hurdles, and they've just helped me to be stronger, more compassionate, and honestly, they've made me more driven than ever. Having that positive mindset where you're going somewhere. And it's also taught me you've got to stay true to your goals. You've got to stay true to your goals. And so this year I've already published 3 books. My goal is 12. It's absolutely amazing. And it's just that mindset of you're gonna do this. You can do this. You're worthy of achieving those goals, and I'm a motivational speaker, a global leader, a mentor, and a coach. And I've inspired thousands of people around the world, to become a better version of themselves. And that's really where I feel like God has led me for my path, is to help people understand that really you get into your way most times, and by the grace of God, I have actually been out of my bed. I was wheelchair walker, bedridden, independent for 3 years. I've been out of bed for the last year. I was shown a medical grade technology that I wear now, and it helps me with my balance and my pain and all of those things. And through that through that opportunity, that I was finally willing to accept that, this is something I'm allowed to do with my life, I was able to actually partner with this company. And now I'm a top global leader of a 600 people organization that I've handpicked across the globe, which is just absolutely beautiful. My disease has definitely given me a unique perspective on life. I used to get in my head and see my limitations as things that truly would prevent me from being able to live a fulfilling life. And now I use that perspective that I've grown from to help people overcome their own challenges, and I just wrote a children's book. It's affirmations from A to Z. It's all about helping families with mindsets. Being a mom of 5, that was super important for me. And I feel like it kind of goes full circle when I'm trying to help adults and business people and all the throughout their day-to-day, then to bring it full circle back to their kids and help them with their mindsets as well. Because ultimately my mission is to empower and empower other people to achieve their goals and just live life, like I said, with more purpose, live a happy life and teach them how to master that mindset, because it really is all about mindset. And these days, instead of being in this room praying, God, take me, these days I'm saying, hey, give me more time. I've got lots of work to do.